Hi, I'm odeean. Today I'm having a look at the Hong Kong exclusive ACG-Con Metroplex. Here we've got the box art. It's pretty nice. It looks like it's hand drawn. I don't have the SDCC exclusive Metroplex, so I don't know if it's the same as this guy, but either way it's pretty nice. What you're looking at right now is the slipcase. If I pull back a little bit, you'll see on the top we have the 15th ACG Hong Kong 2013 Fountain of Creativity. So I wasn't even aware of this convention until this exclusive came out, but now I am. Moving over here, Thrilling 30. So this is another one of the Thrilling 30. And the whole thing is a slipcase. So if you look over here, here is the figure itself. And it's pretty huge. Just to give you an idea of scale, here is Baxter Stockman. I'll do more scale shots later, obviously, and I've got it out. I've actually already applied the stickers and what have you, so part of the bubble wrap is gone there, but it's actually pretty impressive, but a little bit hard for me to show how this case works. So there's Velcro joining the middle here, and if you just split it, it's kind of so big, falls apart like that, and then you've got Metroplex standing right in the middle with his two big guns planted in the ground by his sides. So it's kind of cool and reusable. It is in an easy fashion. It's reusable. If you wanted to keep this safe, you could definitely keep all the bubble. So I guess the main thing to show here is really how this convention exclusive looks. I mean, there's a lot of other videos out there that really get in depth of the transformation of the standard Hasbro version, and there aren't really any differences between this and the standard version, but the look for my money is quite different. So pulling back, you can see that he's got the full chrome thighs and hips, which is really why I was willing to pay the extra to get this, as well as the chrome face. Let's just go in a little bit closer to the face. So the Takara version also has this chrome face, and I had originally ordered a Takara version just because I wanted the chrome, and kind of was a bit sad that I was going to miss out on this area down here. But when I found out that it wasn't just SDCC who was able to get this, I jumped on board and pre-ordered this guy straight away. Those big iconic knee pads. So BBTS have this on pre-order currently, and I did order this at BBTS, but the other night I was just looking at Robot Kingdom, and as I was there I noticed that this changed to shipping August 1st, and I looked at the time, it was 1st of August, so I bought it, and it's got here relatively quickly. I don't think anybody else has got them so far, so it turned out good for me. And even though the price was substantially different at BBTS and Robot Kingdom, the shipping kind of equaled it out a bit, so it was a very similar price. I think this came to only $10 cheaper, which is, you know, no reason to change, but the time was, as far as I'm concerned. This Fall of Cybertron Metroplex is only really Fall of Cybertron in name. Nothing about the way this looks is substantially similar to the game version, and that's not a complaint from me because I wanted a G1 looking Metroplex, and that is essentially what this guy is. He's pretty G1. You can see the face there. I really like the face with that chrome. That's really, really beautiful. And stickers all over. So those stickers on the crest of his head, and over here stickers, more stickers along here, up here. The guy's really got quite a few stickers all over him. There were some pictures on the instructions pointing to sticker these areas, and I'm not sure if that was just me misinterpreting it, but I'm definitely not applying stickers over the chrome. That would be ridiculous. But you can see some more stickers down there on the kneecaps here. Where else? That's about it. Oh yeah, down on the toes here. If I can focus in on it. So those little glyphs down at the front of the toe, more stickers. The black panel up here, sticker. It's really quite nice. There's my reflection looking back from the thighs. I think that's enough of my steady, not so steady cam hand. Back to the tripod. The graphics on the stickers look very similar to the graphics on the official toy as far as I can tell. It's just that these ones do seem to be glossy. Now I've heard it said that only the SDCC stickers were glossy, but these definitely have a very shiny surface. The stickers themselves don't have enough glue, and I think that they will peel off after time. Definitely not as sticky as the Fortress Maximus stickers were, so that's a little bit of a letdown. I'm going to show you the sound clips now to do a test demo to show that they're the same as the original version.
Metroplex heeds the call of the last prime. Foolish Decepticons. Decepticon deactivation commencing. Target synchronizing initiated. Target obliterated. These Decepticons scatter like cowards. Till all are one. Metroplex heeds the call of the last prime.
So all of those sounds, as far as I can tell, are the same as the Hasbro version of the toy. Looking at his face, you can see he's got his visor down here, and I don't know if you could pick up on it with the light here, but the eyes in the lights, as well as the circle on the chest, were going on and off as he was talking, and they kind of flash on and off. There is a gimmick where the eyes move side to side, but it's pretty flaky, and you can't really easily access it from the back of the head without lifting a little panel. So I'm going to give that a skip. We do have this panel here that can fold down, revealing a battery of missiles, I think, some kind of weapon. My one of these came stuck, and at first I was not even sure if that was capable of bending down because it was so solidly jammed in there, but with a little bit of leverage from a screwdriver it did pop down. So don't be fooled, this panel does bend down. The head itself can rotate some degree. It does get a bit hampered by the bulk of his chest at either side, and this folds forward, but it's really part of the transformation later on. But if you push up his visor like that, just so that you can see his eyes, let's light up those eyes. To get the visor back down, we just give it a little flip like that, and the head will pop the visor down for you. The chest in this region here looks like it's split and might bend in the middle, but it is actually not. That's one solid piece. It would have been nice actually if it could bend there. It's been sculpted really, really well. Apart from that chrome, the other benefit of getting this Hong Kong exclusive is that we get two awesome guns. So I like to mount one on the back of the shoulder here and the other one in the fist. But pulling it off, you'll see that the actual tab that pegs into his fist is a huge, huge tab. This wouldn't be compatible with any other figure, and it can just fold up like that, revealing a standard size 5mm peg here, which is how I've got it tabbed into the back of his shoulder like that. A little projectile fits in the end of this barrel and is activated by pushing the little lever here, and it does shoot quite a long way, but unfortunately I can't show this because my daughter was playing with this earlier, and I don't know if she's lost them or taken them, but I can no longer find those little projectiles. But take my word for it, it is more powerful than the average little dart that comes out of Transformer weapons these days. Apart from these two huge blasters that Metroplex carries, he does also have his traditional shoulder mounted cannons, and you can just pop these off and the handle does fold down like that. So that's a beautiful gun on its own. More modern, but definitely sticking to the cues from the original figure with that rounded section on there. And just like the other gun, if I can show it this time, bend this camera about a bit. There's a big fat slot right there in his hand, and this just slots right in, and there you go. I think that shows it a little bit more clearly. So if you want, you can close up the hands around it like this. Now those hands, the fingers are articulated at the main knuckle, but nowhere else. The thumb is also up and down articulated. The thumb does tend to get in the way a little bit, and it would have been much nicer if they had put it on a ball joint, more like a Hercules hand or something, but I guess to save money they've skimped a little bit in that respect. For such a huge figure, Metroplex is definitely pretty poseable. So you've seen he's got his shoulders which can go straight out to the sides like this. Apart from that, they've got a full 360 degrees here. We have a swivel at the bicep, ratcheted elbow, which, look at that. It's not really double jointed, but the positioning of the joint lets you have virtually the same range of motion as if it was double jointed. We've got the swivel at the wrist, up and down with the hand. There's that thumb that I was mentioning, and all the fingers. And they're sculpted in such a way that you can position them to make it look as if it had more articulation than what it really does. At the waist, we get a swivel like this. The hips can rotate out a fair way until it makes contact with itself, go backwards and forwards, and you can hear that ratchet is not as strong as what I would like. It doesn't sound like a spring and tooth ratchet. It sounds like plastic flexing in there, which is a little bit of a disappointment. We have a ratcheted swivel at the thigh and more ratchets at the knee. Now there's no joint whatsoever down here at the foot. That about sums up his range of motion. One thing which is a little bit disappointing is that for such a huge figure, the ratchets in the knee and hip are really not up to the task of holding the weight of the entire figure. Now I'm used to having Fortress Maximus, who his joints are so stiff they can virtually take anything, but I'm going to try and demonstrate with this guy, if I can stand up. It's really not taking even the weight of its own leg, so I'm not putting more than the leg weight on the leg, and it can't handle it. Also with the knees, so that's different again. The knee has a tendency to really flop down, and to me those joints feel like they're probably not that durable. After enough play they're going to wear out. Another thing that bothers me is his tendency to slightly lean forward. Now it's nowhere near the annoyance levels of something like Classic's Voltron, but it is a little bit annoying, especially when making a video, as well as the fact that his eyes can't be made to permanently light up. I would love it if they would just have an on switch and stay on. I think in the long run that would even be better for me than the voice clip, but these are kind of minor quibbles that really don't add up to that much. Speaking of Fortress Maximus, here is a size comparison, and at first glance they seem pretty similar, but Fort Max really weighs quite a lot more, and as I mentioned, his ratchets are much stronger than this guy. I gave both of these guys to my daughter today and just let her play. She played for about 4 hours with these after school, and it is her opinion that Fort Max is much more fun, and I'm inclined to agree with her. I think the reason Fortress Maximus is more fun than Metroplex is that he has specially designed rooms in him and features which are there for the play pattern with little figures, and it really seems that they were intentionally engineered into the figure, whereas the little rooms that are inside Metroplex really seem to me to be just kind of held as a cavity there, so let's call it a room. Wax some stickers on it, let's call that a computer panel. That's not a huge complaint, and I think the reason is that Metroplex has always been that way. The G1 Metroplex was definitely that way, and this guy is just essentially a huge version of G1 Metroplex. So I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with this figure. I'm just saying that, you know, if you're going to pick one figure, maybe Fort Max would be the way to go if you intend to actually have fun with it. And I guess the size comparisons could never be complete until I show Metroplex next to Omega Supreme. So this is my preferred version of Omega Supreme, the Planet X Genesis, and they look pretty damn good together. Genesis is higher quality than Metroplex here, but if Metroplex was made as densely as Genesis, I don't think I'd be able to pick him up. Now I'm going to attempt to transform him. It's a little bit tricky, my arms aren't quite long enough. If it goes off camera, I do apologise. Let's see what we have to do. I think this and this. Pop out these legs, bend them forward. Snap them together in the middle. Oh, wait a minute. Slide them over like that. Snap them together in the middle. Bend the head forward. Bring up the little weapons sight. Fold the hands down at the back. For what good that does. Still just looks like a guy with his hands folded down. Bring out the ramp. Come on. Fold down this missile bay. Flip forward the other gun. Bring forward these weapons like this. And that is about that. The instructions also say to bend these into the underneath position like that, but I'm not sure that I really like them down there. I mean, it does give a bit more support, I guess. So I'll do it for the sake of this video, but I think I prefer them out the front here. So again, a very traditional Metroplex carrier slash spaceship, space truck, aircraft carrier mode, whatever that's meant to be. I mean, in the IDW comics we do see him zooming off into space from Cybertron, so I'm guessing that is a space aircraft carrier. We also get this little figure of Scamper. So here he is in his robot mode. It looks pretty cool. One tiny little Autobot sticker there on the chest that I had to apply, and the instructions show it being much bigger. I think I would have liked it bigger, but anyway, he can come down here and hold on to the controls of this weapon. So I'm going to just disconnect this camera. So there we've got him manning this turret gun, and you can see in the front there sort of crosshairs on the computer screen, so he can aim at whatever he wants to shoot. Oh. He can also sit in here and hold on to the controls of this gun. Although he doesn't seem to be able to do it two-handed because his hands are a bit fat to simultaneously grab a hold of that. This is a pretty cheap-ass gun. This is probably the worst part of the whole set. I don't like that the reverse of that gun is just a hollow moulding. I think they should have made actually another panel to put onto the back side. That's a bit weak. With this convention exclusive, we did get the Decoy figures like what with SDCC version, except they're gold and grey, and the Decepticons are in grey, the Autobots are in gold. So here we've got Megatron and Starscream landing on Metroplex, or taking off from Metroplex. Why he would let them do that, I don't know. They're pretty detailed figures too. I think that they must have used, in some respect at least, the CAD files for the full versions of these toys. Otherwise it would have been quite a pain to get these showing quite as much detail as what they've got. So here are those figures. I mentioned all of them now. So first up we've got Megatron in both modes, the bomber mode and his robot mode. Then moving along we've got Trailbreaker in his utility mode and robot mode. Then Hoist in his vehicle mode and robot mode. At the back, Orion Pax in both modes. Bumblebee in both modes. And finally, Starscream in both modes. I would have liked if we had an even number of Autobots and Decepticons, but these are pretty nice little figures anyway. And there's nothing stopping you from painting these up if you want them to look a little bit better on display. I don't think I could be bothered, but the sculpts are done really well, and if they were painted I'm sure they'd look fantastic. Here's Metroplex Transformed. He was just too big. I couldn't do it on camera. My space is limited and my arms are not that long. So everyone knows how Metroplex transforms. This is how he ends up. One thing that interests me is that you can see down here I've got a grind rod fitting into that little room in the cavity of Metroplex's leg. So now deluxe size figures are kind of equal in scale to what the mini-bots were to the original Metroplex. As a kid I always used to have mini-bots in those positions, and now you can put deluxe in those positions, so it's kind of just upscaled one factor. There we've got MP Rumble. It's pretty nice. The helipad up there, the turret on the top. Now there are a few things that I don't like about this mode, and the first is these peg holes on the knee, this circle here and this circle over here, don't allow the big gun on the back, the red gun there, to be tabbed into there. And I always used to put the red guns into those knee pads on the original Metroplex, and I'm a bit disappointed that they can't quite make it into those holes just because the peg isn't long enough. The second problem I've got is that this ramp can't make it to the ground, and even if it could, there's this backing on the ramp here, so cars can't drive up the ramp and inside Metroplex because this black piece of plastic stops anyone from going in. It's kind of ridiculous and destroys the whole point of that feature, and in city mode that is definitely the worst part about the figure. Another annoyance is that these pieces which fold over, as it folds over, these two edges come in contact with each other and they are both painted white. So from transforming it 3 times, I've already started to wear plastic off the figure, so I won't be able to transform this guy anymore. I'm going to have to buy a standard version just for city mode, and I wasn't planning on doing that. It's kind of annoying because I want to be able to give this to my daughter to play with. She really loves it, but I can't because the way it's designed is wearing the paint off. That's a bit of a pain. I'm not sure if that's a problem exclusively to these convention versions or if the retail version is going to have paint in that location, but either way they could have given it a little bit more clearance or thought it through a little bit better. Another thing that's bothering me is that I paid a lot of extra money to get this, and it was for chrome, and they didn't put chrome on this piece. I mean, come on, if you're going to chrome it, chrome this piece, because Metroplex had chrome in that location. I wanted it to look like my old toy, and that's why I paid more money. They could have done that. I'm a bit annoyed that that wasn't the case. I do like how Scamper here can hold on to that gun with both hands. That looks pretty awesome, the way he sits in his little chair there and can just open fire with this huge cannon. That at least is something to be happy about. My final thoughts. I think that this is a really outstanding effort from Hasbro. I think they're trying to make a comeback. It really started with the Springer figure, who I thought was phenomenal and really enjoyed. I didn't review it, so many other people did. I just didn't see the value in doing it, but I think that indicated the mark of an upward swing for Hasbro. And if this doesn't convince you that they're trying at least, then I don't know what could possibly do that convincing, because this is huge. It's totally out of nowhere. I never saw this coming, and I am so pleased that Hasbro have made this. I'm really quite impressed. That doesn't mean it's a perfect figure by any stretch of the imagination, but I feel like they've done the best that could be done at this point in time, and I'm satisfied with the toy. Now, I don't know how happy I would be to have the retail version. For me, Metroplex has got to have that chrome face, and he's got to have those chrome thighs. And it was really important to me. Maybe people who didn't grow up with the toy and play with it hundreds, if not thousands of times, maybe for those people, the chrome isn't such a big deal. And to be honest, for me, chrome is not usually a big deal at all. I tend to not like it. But on this particular character, I had to have that chrome. The price for this guy varies quite a lot. I think at BBTS it's about $250, which seems really big, but don't forget they have to send it from Hong Kong over to the States through probably channels that they don't normally use for their mainline toys. I bought this from Robot Kingdom, as I mentioned before. I think it was like $170 something there, which would seem that it's a very big difference. But unfortunately, because of size restrictions in Australia Post, I had to get this sent EMS, where I normally wouldn't do so, and that bumped it up a huge amount until I had to pay around $300 by the time I got this in hand. If it had come from the US, the postage would also have been more because it's got to travel a long way. So for me, it's very similar, and really it came down to timing as to which one that I would get. So anyway, that pretty much sums it up. I'm happy. I'm glad I've got it. I'm going to probably get a retail one, especially if I see it locally. Go out and grab it while you can. This has been my video review for ACG-Con Hong Kong exclusive Titan class Metroplex. I'm odeean, and thanks for watching.
Target synchronizing initiated. Target obliterated. These Decepticons scatter like cowards. Till all are one. Metroplex heeds the call of the last prime. Foolish Decepticons. Decepticon deactivation commencing. Target synchronizing initiated. Target obliterated. These Decepticons scatter like cowards.